What if I told you your CPA, while great as they may be, isn't enough to fully optimize your financial strategy? Business owners often assume their CPA has everything covered, but tax planning, financial strategy, and wealth management require a team approach. And today, I'm going to be joined by Jake Alexander, an enrolled agent with the IRS, and we're going to break down why collaboration is key, some of the myths that CPAs believe about working with other professionals, and how building the right team actually strengthens client relations. So before we get started, hit that like and subscribe button. Leave any comments or questions. We do answer those. But with all that said, let's get started. Morning, Jake.
Good morning. How are you?
Doing great, buddy. Hey, I know we joked about this hourglass in the front, so I want to bring it up. That's about all the time we get, because after that, you're going to charge me, right?
I will send you a bill once that final speck of sand hits the bottom there.
Okay. All right. So let's get started. Why, Jake, is it so crucial for business owners to have a team rather than relying on a single advisor like a CPA?
It's a great question. And to me, everything is about a team. Building your business is about a team, about building a good team. Building a good financial future is just as important to have a team of professionals that are all focused on all the different aspects of what's important to your financial future.
So you're an enrolled agent. So we have this team. How does an enrolled agent work with the CPA? Like, what's the difference?
So the biggest difference is really from a licensing standpoint. A CPA is a more commonly wide known credential, I would say, but it's a state license issued by whatever state the practitioner wants to practice in. An enrolled agent is a federal license, which is actually issued by the IRS, which allows us to operate in all 50 states in the United States of America. So the biggest difference is really from a licensing standpoint.
Awesome. I know there's less enrolled agents than CPAs. So I just wanted to get that clarified. Now, you and your firm, Jake, you guys do a lot of tax planning, tax strategy. Can you elaborate on the specific role a tax planner or a strategist plays in building that financial team?
Yeah, a tax planner or tax strategist is really focused on being proactive as opposed to being reactive. The normal way taxes are done are in a retroactive manner. Case in point, we're at the beginning of the year right now. A lot of people for the first time are now meeting with their CPA or their enrolled agent to discuss things that have already happened last year and sort of do the cross your fingers approach and hope and pray that that check they're going to have to write to the IRS as little as possible. We flip that on its side. We're all about being proactive and working in the calendar year to put as many strategies in place to pay the least amount of taxes as legally and morally as possible.
Now, Jake, in this one, and I say on here quite often, I don't mean to pick on CPAs, but building these teams is very important to us at the National Referral Network. And most business owners believe that their CPAs are handling everything in terms of their taxes. How does a business owner know if they are or not?
It's a great question. And it's not really to pick on CPAs or EAs. I don't think it has anything to do with the credential itself. It's about how many times per year you're meeting with this person. So kind of like I was saying prior, if you're only talking to someone once per year and it's about items that are after the fact, whether they're a CPA, an EA, a tax preparer, or a financial planner, there's only going to be so much they can do for you. In my opinion, you should be meeting with your tax strategist regularly throughout the year to already have these things in place. Where case in point for our clients now in 2025, we've already done all the planning and all the strategy in 2024. So all that's left to do is just file the tax returns.
So moving forward as a business owner in 2025, Jake, is this something that, because I've heard, and I actually do this, you file your quarterly taxes, or at least, you pay into them, whatever that term is.
Estimated payments.
That one. Should they be meeting on a tax strategy basis? Should they be meeting quarterly, twice a year? Like, what is that time frame?
So depending on the level of income, right? Obviously, the more money you make, the more complexities there are. And a lot of times, a lot more strategies are open to you. So depending on that, quarterly is the most advantageous. If that doesn't make sense, then at least biannually, say once in the summertime, once prior to the end of the year. But meeting with a strategist on a regular basis is only going to pay dividends throughout the course of the years that you're implementing the strategies.
Now, Jake, and I know this wasn't part of the list of questions that I sent to you, but it just came to me.
Okay.
I referred a couple clients to you, did phenomenal work with them. The one thing that they were apprehensive on, because their CPA never told them this, is some of the strategy you presented to them. Their question was, I've never heard of this. Why?
And that's a great question, right? It's because they're not operating in the same function as we are, where most CPAs, most tax preparers and enrolled agents, they operate in the reactive stage, which is I'm going to wait till about this time of year. Then all of my clients are going to reach out to me all at once, and I'm going to do my best to stay organized, stay sane, right? You and I don't have to worry about losing hair, but not lose hair. And they're literally dealing with hundreds of clients all at the same time to just get organized and get things in a proper manner, to get things filed timely and to get them filed compliant, where they're not thinking of proactive ways to save you money because A, you didn't hire them to do that, and B, they have 300 or 400 other people that are all coming to them with their, lack of a better term, mess all at the same time. So they're not aware of these strategies because they're not working in that proactive realm, which is what we do and where we specialize in working with clients.
So with that, Jake, I mean, there's a lot of misconceptions from a CPA standpoint, despite all of the data and all of the articles that indicate CPAs need to go down this route in terms of working with other professionals. But why is it so hard for CPAs to get into that mindset of collaboration?
So I would never talk bad about my fellow accounting brethren, but the typical mindset of an accountant is inside the lines. It's not eyes wide open looking for opportunities and proactive strategies. It's how do we not get in trouble, right? It's how do we make sure everything's done timely? How do we hit the deadlines? How do we stay in compliance? How do we pull off all the red flags, which is great, but that's not going to save you a lot of money. And in my opinion, you need that, right? Like in our company, we have a tax preparation department where all they do is file timely and compliant tax returns for clients by the deadlines to minimize the penalties and interest that they pay. We've also got a separate department, which is different people that work in the tax prep department that are our tax strategists and our tax planners. And although they have a lot of the same credentials, a lot of the same trainings, their personality is much different, where we know these things are out there. We know our clients are going to make a ton of money this year. What strategies can we offer to them to legally and morally pay the least amount of taxes as possible? And so it really comes down to a matter of mindset, in my opinion.
So how do I say this? Because look, CPAs play that role, right? CFOs play a role, and we talk about staying in your lane on a lot of these conversations. And you mentioned that you have 3 different departments. And although the focus is on the tax strategy, if a CPA is concerned, which the data suggests is that they're concerned about losing clients, if they were to refer somebody like or a client to you, how do you respond to a concern like that?
We play very well in the sandbox with whatever professionals is in the best interest of the client. So if they have a CPA or an EA or a tax preparer that they love working with, for whatever reason, they can keep that tax preparer. We don't necessarily need to do the taxes for them to work with us. We have a number of clients where we'll provide the tax plan and then help them implement the strategies throughout the course of the year. And then they are basically giving the same documents to their existing tax preparer to be able to work with them. So that's something we do very well. And we've always had the abundance mentality when it comes to working with other professionals, where unfortunately some do have more of a scarcity mindset. That's not the case on our end. We're more than willing to work with whoever is necessary to get the client the most taken care of at the end of the day.
If we shift the conversation specifically to business owners, now obviously we've talked about this relationship with CPAs, but a lot of business owners hold their CPAs to a very high esteem, sometimes warranted, sometimes not. If you're talking to a business owner, how do you get them to change their paradigm in that you want to work with their CPA, you don't want to take them away from the CPA?
At the end of the day, it's all about teamwork, right? No championship teams are built on one person, or, right. It's all about who's on the team. And from my opinion, like, most championship players want other championship players on their team. They don't want to be at this level and have people who are just getting started or new to the game on the same team. It just doesn't make sense. And so it usually starts with asking questions of like, has your current professional mentioned this? Have they mentioned the Augusta rule? Have they mentioned putting your children on the payroll? Have they mentioned retirement plans? All sort of other things, where we can usually start with a series of 8 or 10 questions that, if the answer to those questions is no, that person has never brought it up to me, that's probably a sign, not that they're bad or they're bad people or they're not intelligent or smart or doing a great job, but they're not thinking strategy, they're thinking compliance.
Which is interesting you bring up the sports analogy, because there's the other side of the analogy when it comes to coaches, right? Or mentors. If you want to go from college to the NBA, it's going to take a different mentor, right?
Yeah.
If you want to go from the NBA to be an all-star, right, to have a long career, it takes a different mentor. So as businesses grow, what do you see as the biggest financial mistakes that business owners are making when it comes to building these teams and finding their mentors?
It's a great question. And we not to get off on a tangent, but I literally had we brought a new client on board yesterday, and they're running a $32 million per year business on pen and paper. And I thought it was on a game show where they're playing tricks on me. I was like, there's no way this is right. She's like, no, I write it all down. I've got a ledger. She actually had really good records and understood what was going on. But I told her, this is not sustainable. Like, the fact that you've done it is very impressive and I'm blown away. But like, we have to get QuickBooks. We have to sync it with the bank account. We can do this for you for $400 or $500 a month. So you don't have to spend 20 hours a week writing down every transaction. And props to her, she was doing it and making it work. I've never seen anything like it. But and they were running a very successful business, but that's usually not the case. That's an anomaly. If you're using the same systems and processes at $1 million in revenue, $2 million in revenue, $3 million in revenue that you were when you first started, I can guarantee you're losing efficiency there. So having the right people on board, getting the right systems and processes in place from a financial standpoint is key to just optimizing the business and making your life a lot easier long term.
I mean, I've heard of businesses running their CRM through Excel, which is not the function of Excel. But that's the first time I've heard of somebody like the old school ledgers.
I thought, remember Punk'd, the show from MTV? I thought my team was playing a trick on me. I was like, who set this up? This can't be real.
Oh my gosh. Like the old school double entry ledger, that'd be fun.
Notebooks. I mean, she had a stack of them, and so you can do it, right? It can work, but at the end of the day, that's not the most optimized way to spend your time. That's not the most efficient way to do things. There's technology out there, and having a good team of professionals who can walk you through that and get you set up the right way is what's key, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. That just threw me off, Jake. I'm sorry. It did.
Sorry, didn't mean that.
So,
sorry, I couldn't believe it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's nuts. So like in a situation like that, obviously, I mean, I'm assuming they had worked with the CPA, but what steps can a CPA take to build trust, right? And establish this kind of effective relationship with other partners, with their clients, so they don't, hey, I'm not trying to give you away. I'm not trying to pawn you off. I'm just trying to build this team. How do they build that trust and establish that conversation?
And that's a great question. At the end of the day, I truly believe people know when you have their best interests at heart, and people want to help people. And so we work with several CPAs, several enrolled agents who don't offer strategy, and they'll just tell the clients like, hey, you should work with Jake and his team, or you should work with Action Accounting because they do all the strategy stuff. I can still file and prepare your taxes, but they've got things out there that can save you a ton of money. You should at least have a conversation with them. And that's really where it starts. Let us sort of go through our interview process and do what we do. And by no means are we trying to take the client away from a tax preparation standpoint or belittle their role in the relationship by any means. To me, it's understanding that there's other people out there who are more knowledgeable in different areas than you practice is where professionalism kind of starts, in my opinion. So I think if you are a CPA or you are an enrolled agent and you're not offering strategy or proactive advice, but you're also not proactively referring those clients to somebody who is, you're sort of not doing the best service to the client, in my opinion.
No, and we agree, right? I mean, there have been often times that I've referred clients to professionals, which they've acquired as clients, and for whatever reason, I didn't get them as a client. And it could be just their assets under management weren't there, they weren't at that right stage. But it's for me, it's critical for me to at least create that value, because at one point in time in the future, they're going to come back anyways.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, if you're doing what's right for people, maybe they don't ever come back, but something else will, you know?
Right. And so, Jake, with and we don't have a crystal ball here, but with the increasing complexity of tax law, federal regulations, potential tax changes, tariffs, all of these things that are going on, do you think CPAs are going to really kind of get pushed aside if they don't start adopting this team approach?
I think there'll always be work to be done, right? Like,
Okay.
and who knows? We don't have a crystal ball, like you said, right?
Right.
Who knows what's going to happen with government and all this crazy stuff that they're talking about? I think at the end of the day, there'll always be people who need help with tax returns and items and something of some sort. So if that's okay with you in your practice, then continue doing what you're doing. But the evolution of our industry is moving towards proactive advice and offering advisory services to clients, with technology making the compliance part easier and easier. I think it's going to be a struggle to charge enough from a fee standpoint to justify services that are just getting easier and easier to offer to the client. So building relationships with clients, offering them proactive advice, and doing things to save them money, in my opinion, is really where the future of our industry is going.
Right. Now, if we take that same question, Jake, in terms of tax law compliance, what does a business owner need to be aware of moving forward into 2025 and 2026?
So as a business owner, my opinion is you should go run your business and make as much money as possible. You don't need to be studying these things and keeping up with them on your own. That's why you hire people like us and people like Protection Point Advisors that have your best interest and are going to do our job, which is to stay abreast of all the changes and everything that's going on, and then present it to you in the easiest, most simple to understand manner. So
I love it. Jake, I want to be cognizant of your time. Any final thoughts?
No, I think this was great. Sorry to throw you off with the $32 million handwritten ledger, but this is great. I enjoy working with you and your team because you guys have that proactive approach. You know, if you're a business owner out there, having a really good team of people that you work with very well is of the utmost importance to me. And I wish everyone a great 2025 and look forward to seeing you all soon.
Hey, and we came in under the buzzer there.
Look at that. That's perfect.
So Jake, thank you so much. Jake's contact information will be in the description below. If you guys have any questions, reach out to them. If you want an introduction, reach out to us, leave it in the comments, send us a message. We'll take care of you. But as always, Jake, thank you so much. Appreciate the work that you do for our clients and you taking the time to be here today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks.